Want to know what it's like living in Jupiter Farms? Today I want to give you an overview of what I see as the pros and cons of living in Jupiter Farms, and I know a little bit about it because I live in Jupiter Farms. My name is Casey Prindle, and I help busy people sell and buy real estate in Jupiter, Jupiter Farms, Juno Beach, Palm Beach Gardens, Tequesta, Hobe Sound, and Loxahatchee. If you're thinking of moving to Jupiter, Florida, and you've got a list of 20 homes that you're considering buying, and you need an agent to help you narrow that down to 4 or 5 homes, and then go preview those homes for you, I'm probably your guy. If you're a first-time home buyer with 10,000 questions, or somebody considering relocating to Jupiter, I'm probably your guy. If you want to sell your home in Jupiter, but you have a higher level of complication in the sale due to higher price point, probate or inheritance, divorce, any form of distress, or you just live out of state, you need somebody to take it cradle to grave for you, I'm probably your guy. Stick around to the end of the video, and I'm going to tell you my absolute favorite thing about living in Jupiter Farms. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming you're interested in moving to Jupiter Farms. My wife and I are transplants to Jupiter Farms. We're not natives of the area. We didn't grow up here. So my perspective and what I'm able to speak to is a lot of the same as the person who's looking for information that's watching this video that's considering moving to Jupiter Farms. My wife and I had lived in Fort Lauderdale for many years before deciding to move up here to Jupiter and build a new construction home in Jupiter Farms. So this is my happy place. I love living in Jupiter Farms. You're gonna have to wheel me out of this house. I'm not leaving it any other way. But I also want to be honest that Jupiter Farms is not for everybody. And that's largely the reason I wanted to do this video, is to give a true pros and cons about it, to make sure it's right for you if you are considering moving to Jupiter Farms. Septic systems. For a lot of people who are interested in living in Jupiter Farms, one of the biggest surprises that's going to come, septic systems. Most of the surrounding areas, including Jupiter itself east of 95, is going to be connected to city water. Jupiter Farms is on septic, not on city water. For me, this is a positive. You just need to do the basics to take care of your well, your filtration system, have your septic pumped out here and there. It's really not that big of a deal, but the trade-off is you don't have a water bill. If you are considering buying a home in Jupiter Farms, I would urge you to do a septic inspection during your inspection period. One of the first questions that buyers ask, is Jupiter Farms safe? This is not going to be my opinion. This is going to be the opinion of Neighborhood Scout, which is where this data came from. You can go to neighborhoodscout.com and look at the data for yourself. According to Neighborhood Scout, Jupiter Farms is the safest neighborhood in all of Jupiter. Once again, according to Neighborhood Scout, Jupiter has an overall low crime rate, and it has a low crime rate compared to other US cities. I'm going to attach a screenshot here due to fair housing laws. I really can't comment much more than that, but you can go ahead and check out the data for yourself at Neighborhood Scout. How are Jupiter Farms schools? I really should do a separate video on this because most people interested in buying a house in Jupiter Farms ask, how are Jupiter Farms schools? First thing to know if you're looking at elementary schools in Jupiter Farms. West of Jupiter Farms Road, you'll be assigned to one school. East of Jupiter Farms Road, you'll be assigned to a different school. You are really going to want to verify this. If you find an address that you're interested in, go to the Palm Beach County School website, put in the address, and it's going to kick out exactly what schools you'll be assigned to. As far as Jupiter school ratings go, let's have a look at what niche.com and greatschools.org have to say. Niche.com gives Jupiter schools overall an A rating. They give both Jupiter Farms Elementary and Jerry Thomas an A- rating. Those are the two schools that kids in Jupiter Farms are assigned to. If we look at greatschools.org, they give Jerry Thomas a rating of 6 out of 10 and Jupiter Farms Elementary a rating of 10 out of 10. Again, these are not my opinions. They are the opinions of those two websites. Full disclosure, I do have a daughter who goes to Jupiter Farms Elementary. How is the internet speed in Jupiter Farms? All right, I get it that this one's a little bit out there, but it's important to a lot of people who work from home. Both my wife and I do. So this wasn't something we really considered when we were moving into the farms, but it's kind of a big deal. So there is fiber in parts of Jupiter Farms already. At least for AT&T, who's our service provider, they're trying to add more fiber in as fast as they can. My house doesn't have fiber yet, so this is an unfortunate con for us. How's traffic in Jupiter Farms? If you're gonna ask me how traffic is in Jupiter Farms, I'm gonna ask you where you're driving to. If you need access to 95 or the Turnpike, they're just down Indiantown Road. The most I've ever had to wait when I'm traveling east, and that's just during rush hour, you know, by the CVS when you come into Jupiter Farms, kind of that little stretch of road, I've had to wait up to 10 minutes, but honestly, that's about it, which if you come from a heavily trafficked area, it's really not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Now, once you get on 95, traffic's gonna be lighter, heading north on 95 towards Hobe Sound and Stewart. It's gonna get heavier the further down that you head south, honestly. You know, West Palm, you're gonna have some traffic, but south of West Palm, it really kind of gets pretty heavy between West Palm and Boca. During rush hour, if I have to go on 95 and head south into Palm Beach or, you know, a little further south, it ends up taking me about 25, 30 minutes. So again, it's not brutal, but that's kind of a realistic timeline, and that's time on the highway once you've gotten out of the farm. So if you're trying to calculate it a little bit. If you're trying to travel west on Indiantown Road during rush hour, all you're gonna see is a few gators, you know. You're really gonna see a whole lot of traffic. Accessory dwelling units or guest houses. So as a general rule, you can build an accessory dwelling unit or a guest house in Jupiter Farms. I bring this up because I get asked somewhat regularly about finding a home with a guest house on it. So I think the obvious reason people look for this is when friends or family come to visit, you can have them stay in the guest house. I think some other people more recently, you know, look to put it on Airbnb or rent out the guest house, and that can offset your mortgage payment. So I'm making a blanket statement there. If you're interested in buying a home and you want to add a guest house or an accessory dwelling unit, make sure you go through your due diligence and all of the zoning questions correctly during the purchase process. HOAs in Jupiter Farms. So outside of a couple of exceptions, the vast majority of homes in Jupiter Farms are not in HOAs. This can be a pro or a con depending on what you're looking for. So a pro would be you're allowed to have a horse on your property and nobody can tell you that you can't. A con would be your neighbor can have roosters and you don't like to wake up early. You know, to kind of expand on that, Jupiter Farms does have a rural feel to it, and people have animals here. Lots of different kinds too. So if that's gonna bother you, you may not wanna move to the farms. You know, you're gonna see horses and chickens and goats and donkeys. You know, lots of dogs around here, cats roaming around. So if you don't like animals, this just may not work for you in general, whether it's in an HOA or not in an HOA. You know, like I said, it is kind of a rural feel place, and there are a lot of animals. I love that. So it's a pro for me, but I don't know if it would be for you or not. So anyways, if you do like rules and you want to live in an HOA, there are a couple of homeowners associations in the farms. I'm not going to dig into those on this video. I did a little bit in the last one. But for the most part, I think people living in Jupiter Farms are trying to get away from HOAs. They're not trying to move into them. My favorite things about living in Jupiter Farms. I have a lot of favorite things about living in Jupiter Farms, honestly. The people that live here, by and large, are friendly. They're gonna wave to you, they're gonna talk to you. And so if you don't like waving to your neighbors and cars that go by and talking to your neighbors, you know, and you want something more solitary, the farms may not be the place for you, honestly. We have a large equestrian community in Jupiter Farms, so very often you'll see horses walking down the road. You don't hear horn honking in Jupiter Farms, and there's a reason for it. If you have the urge to honk your horn all the time, this probably isn't the best neighborhood for you. There's a lot of horses here. There's a lot of people that ride on the backs of those horses. If you're honking your horn constantly, you can spook a horse and it can throw somebody off and they can really get hurt. Early in the morning or at dusk, you'll see tons of bunnies in Jupiter Farms. I love that. There are paved roads and there are dirt roads in Jupiter Farms. Now, I like having dirt roads. I have a small child. I prefer to have people driving slower instead of fast. I think the dirt roads help maintain the small town feel that Jupiter Farms has. Now, you may be a little different. You may be very into, say, sports cars, and you have all of your cars are very low to the ground. This just may not be the best place for you because it's just not set up for that, you know? So, my absolute most favorite thing about living in Jupiter Farms, there's no streetlights. Now, if you already live in a sparsely populated area and you don't have streetlights, it's probably not a big deal. But let me tell you about the places I've lived in my life. Cape Cod, Boston, New York City, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Jupiter Farms, in that order. The only place that I've just gone through that doesn't have streetlights is Jupiter Farms. The difference is when you look up at the night sky, it's incredible out here. There's nothing to interfere with there's no glare, there's no anything like that. It doesn't dim the night sky. You get to see the most amazing stars. It's wild. So it's really cool just to go out on the back patio or take a blanket and lay out on the lawn. My kid gets to see a night sky that, for me, it's amazing. The only con I can put out there with that, I'm gonna put a picture up now. This is our house at night. About the third night that we were in this house, my wife was freaked out because it's dark out. It is really dark out. It's great for helping you sleep because the house will get real dark, but I like it. I think it's super cool, but that's what I got for you. Look, if you're interested in moving to Jupiter Farms or Jupiter or the surrounding area, go ahead and give me a call. Let's talk. Or of course, let's go have a coffee or a cocktail if you're down here already.